And then I
I'm gonna press this to record, but I'm glad you're okay. And is he on the mend?
he's on the mend. I mean, we'll see. He's getting blood work done, and then a week from today, he goes to see his doctor, and so they'll, of course, do EKG there, and they will look at the blood work and see if it's okay. He has a meeting with the surgeon on Friday, on the 30th.
Stents, yeah.
To see about everything. So we're just still in the process. But he is feeling better, I think, and he's resting a lot. I'm making sure he's doing all those things. And I've been doing my scan on him every day. So that seems to help him a lot too. I just got some information about MIT did a study with mice, and they determined they were able to clear Alzheimer's plaque from the brain of mice with light and sound.
Oh,
Oh, so you can even go to MIT or studies on, I haven't done that yet, on for Alzheimer's with mice for MIT, clearing plaque from, but
and then
it's really promising.
well, it is with light and sound.
It's vibration, it's frequency. Einstein said that the future of medicine is frequency.
And that's why you get people with their tuning forks.
Right. And that's what we do with the scanner too. The scanner
Oh,
does the
right.
same
And then
thing.
that's why when we think
It's
about it, Tibetan monks have been using,
right, the bowls
I don't
and
think that's the
stuff
right
like
way.
that for years. But what the scanner does is it tunes into the vibrations in the voice, which connect with the emotions. And then it creates a sound for that particular individual, because we're all different. We all have a different frequency.
Yeah.
And it takes that and then balances the emotions with that, with this, it creates a sound, a music and a tone, like a little tone sound as well. And that's what that does. So, but yeah, that was pretty amazing information. I knew you'd have to know that about the MRI.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing. That's phenomenal.
Mhm.
Um, because that's the one that, as I say, with Alzheimer's
Right,
is huge with the plaques and
right,
tangles.
right.
Um, so yeah, it's like, wow.
Yeah, it's big. And it's not just a little place, it's MIT, which is a really, really prestigious university,
Right.
not just a
Where,
little.
where is MIT?
What?
Where is that university?
Let me see.
I don't know because
I don't either, but I can
English.
tell you. Here's my little sound thing right there.
I love it. Yeah.
So, but let me go to, where is MIT? Massachusetts. It's in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Right, well, that would make sense. Yeah.
It's the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and it's located in Cambridge, Massachusetts, across from Boston.
And so they've done this on mice. And then the next thing they'll probably do it is on rats. And then the next thing they'll probably do it is on monkeys.
Yeah, they'll continue.
Yeah, they will. And that's great because that's well, yeah. And it makes you wonder actually, I wonder if people who are, you know, monks and things in the Tibetan mountains who are always listening to their own vibrations, they're humming, they're doing
Yeah,
all these things. We
absolutely.
say this is a Tibetan bowl, you know, all those people
Absolutely.
that do this regularly.
Absolutely.
Um, and the sounds, I wonder,
I
I
do
wonder,
too.
I wonder what, how many of them have full blown, because there's we all know that there's, as we can get older, we can get normal forgetfulness.
Right.
But the full blown, like as we say, Alzheimer's, where it's really bad. It would be interesting to know region to region.
Follow it. And yeah, to see how that works. I think it all works. Definitely the bowls are an energetic type of medicine. They're very healing. And, you know, crystals have an energetic component to them as well.
Mm.
And
And then you said light, so I understand
light,
the sound. So
light. The energy is light. It's the light frequency, the frequency of light.
yeah, so I wonder how that would work. I mean, I've always understood the sound, but how
Mhm.
do people use? Because I know there's been
Well,
the
I know I worked with Dr. Rama Ditson Summer. You may not know, you may or may not know her. I met her through the International Medical and Dental Hypnotherapy Association. And I was always interested in that kind of thing and interested in, uh, you know, helping kids with ADD, ADHD. And that's what she did. She developed a light and sound machine that balances the brain for ADD, ADHD, attachment disorder, specifically those things. And she was down in Phoenix. And this was back when I was in Michigan, and I would fly to Phoenix and you work with her in her camps during the summer, just observing how she's working with these children and helping her, of course, but also observing how she works with these children. And the machine has, let me see if I have one of them here. Well, this would be one, it's not her machine though. Let me go get it. It'll take me 1 second.
yeah, no, it's fine. And just for the recording, because it is fascinating that uh, if all these things are out there for the children, then there's going to be less likely stuff going on for when they're adults. Less likely for them to have to, I don't know, say, eat a bad diet, drink drugs.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
So this would be her machine, and unfortunately, I can't really hook it up and show you other than it has these little lights. Can you see the lights?
Yes, yes.
And they kind of blink across like this.
Yeah, so it's like
This
bilateral.
is the only equipment that I know of that actually works with the vestibular system as well. But what it would do is you put this on, you could even put them on over glasses and study with it or whatever. And it would bring the brain into balance. And it has this little thing that it hooks into. And there's 15 different programs. She works with athletes all over the world. Um, the mental training coach for the US swim team when they were in Australia years ago. And so anyway, fascinating lady. This was all light and sound
So
and
what's
frequency.
her name, Carrie Ann?
Dr. Rama Ditson Summer. Now she's not around, she's passed, so she's not
Yeah,
around, or
but
unfortunately.
what has anybody else taken it over? I mean, if it was so
So,
good, then
I don't
surely
know
it
that
would
they
be.
have. I don't know that they have, to be
Then,
honest.
I mean,
I
that
don't, I don't
sounds
know that
ridiculous.
anybody's taken over. I need the wire on on my lights kind of got, screwy, and I'm trying to get an electrician or somebody to fix that. I can't get it fixed. But that is really great. And I know that
Because of course the
with the
lights going left and
scanner,
right, it's all bilateral stimulation.
yes,
And that is
what
what's
it is.
good for people living with dementia, is the left
Absolutely.
and right. Anything,
That's
anything.
right.
That's why playing the piano, horse riding,
Yeah,
all these things are good. But that's why any sport is, and walking, anything.
that
Because
would bring the brain
yeah,
into balance.
you're balancing the brain, knitting left and right. It keeps
Yeah,
people more balanced,
right.
and as opposed to just sitting watching TV and one thing. I mean, even when the kids are doing their left and right, when they're playing games, they're actually still doing left and right stuff.
That's
Um,
awesome. That's
so
awesome.
it's not so bad, but I am curious as to if that was like revolutionary, how
For
come it?
her, well, it was in the respect that she and her husband at the time um, were the first to program the light and sound.
Yeah,
She was a psychologist, a child psychologist,
yeah,
and she worked and had camps for the children um, during the summer. Well, one summer there was a little boy, and his foster parents never came to get him. He was just left at the camp. They couldn't get a hold of him. You know. So she brought him home with her, and she says they're kind of sitting on the sofa, and she's a very matter of fact kind of person.
right.
He goes, well, what do you think? Do you want to stay here? Do you want to come live with me? Do you want to stay here? And he goes, okay. No. And I don't know, he was maybe 4 or 5 years old, but he did have attachment disorder, of course, and other things, which is really common in those situations. And so she and her husband developed this equipment because they knew about the right left to create that
The
in the brain, because the brain, whether you have the eyes closed or open, the lights are there, and the brain is following the movement.
yes,
The right left movement, and it's different for different programs. She had 15 different programs, so she could help people get over jet lag within just very, in a few days. Or, that's what was so great. She trained her athletes how to work with jet lag. So by the time they got into Australia from America, they had no jet lag. And they're there 5 days early to do to practice, to get into
yeah,
so
the
they
shape.
didn't have the jet lag. Not only that, she could keep them in the zone for 45 minutes by using the light and sound ahead of time.
Wow. So, which is of
It's
course
amazing.
all a form of hypnosis.
Yeah, it
You're
is.
in the zone.
It is. It is. But she would do that with the machine, how they ate, what they did. There were a number of things, just like we're talking about with Alzheimer's here, about alcohol and
Mhm.
and um, hypertension and different things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, we're going to be doing
It's the same thing.
alcohol today.
It's all one thing, but that's a crucial part. The light and sound is really
Um,
important.
Yeah, well, I would say so, because it's like, because it's the
Yeah.
when the melatonin as well, we get that in the morning, and then that's why it decreases, and then we go to sleep, and we
Right,
have our own biorhythms,
right,
with the light and day, which is why, of course, like literally traveling to the other side of the world is so topsy-turvy.
right. Right.
So, it can literally flip people.
I
Um,
think actually, I I know, I don't know if it was Kevin Costner. It could have been someone else from Hollywood of that kind of same genre or whatever of time.
yeah.
um, Came to her, had many I don't think Kevin Costner had all those children. I'm trying to think of who it might be, the other person. But anyway, he would fly his son to come and work with her because he had ADD, ADHD, and she worked with a lot of children that had that.
Marvelous.
And so,
I'm just confused why no one else is carrying on doing it.
well, there are people carrying on doing it, and they're doing it in a different way. And that's part of the scanning process, is that it is, and we now have that hooks into this, into the computer, the hub. And the hub does exactly that. Again, you've got the light and you've got the sound, vibration,
And then you do it
all
through.
of it together. And you can do it through that connected with the hub. It's just a thing that connects onto the computer that gives that. And now we have the little things that all around the head do different vibrations for different parts of the brain, depending upon what's going on with the brain.
And so does it help blood flow as well then?
Oh,
Stimulate that?
sure, sure.
But this should all, so you doing this with your husband should really help him.
Well, that's what with the scanner. Yeah. Yeah, it gives me everything because it takes me from the this would be the sound. So I have to take this out so you can hear it. And there's a number of different music. If you want more meditative music, you can plug that in. That's what you want, as long as it has the tones with it.
Yeah.
And then I can go to an enhanced report, and then that gives me, my food sensitivities, whatever I'm sensitive today that I shouldn't eat, which look like spices and vegetables. It gives me my CBC for the blood, and then it does all the chakras, balances the chakras. Okay.
Yeah, I remember you saying, what's it called again? The hub, the app.
The hub is part of AO scan. So Solex AO scan. So you have to go to Solex.
I've heard of Zyto scans.
Huh?
I've heard of Zyto scans.
What
You
are
put
they?
your hand on, and then it takes what's um
Right. Scans have been around for a long time, actually. It does all the meridians. So my acupuncturist loves that because it says, oh my gosh, looks like my kidneys are out of balance. So if I were at my acupuncturist, he would know. And he literally checks my pulses compared to what is on the scanner, and it checks out.
oh, now
So
that's
it's kind
interesting.
of, yeah, it's kind of interesting. And then it just comes down and does all kinds of things. My whole, um, oh, shoot.
Well, I think that's fascinating.
Digestive function to everything, anything that might be out of balance,
Mm.
that I need to pay attention to. And if it keeps showing up, then I know that, hey, I need to really pay attention to that. I need to do that. But it's optimizing it at the same time. It scans and then it optimizes. So
Yeah.
it can be out of balance when it scans, but once it optimizes, I'm
And
back.
you found that really helpful for your balance issue. Because
Yes.
you've had,
Well, what it's done, I haven't had it all weekend long, but what it's done is, with the balance thing is like, especially before I go to bed, because that'll be, I'll lay back and that'll be sometimes when I'll get a little dizzy and stuff like that. I just put it on a continuous program for my ears for balance. I mean, it does so many different things. I can make little homeopathic things out of it with pellets and program either homeopathics into it or maybe certain every disease, every body function that's has a frequency. And so you just go to the optimal frequency of that. So if I go into let me go back here. If I go into my Cephis, I can come here and there's a frequency, and I'm going to come down here and I want to imprint. Say I want to make some little homeopathics for that, which I do. Okay. So it goes from, it has all kinds of, it's got alcoholism in here, for instance, is one of them. And those would just be taking, some little pellets, allergies. It's almost any kind of dis-ease of whatever it has. With my husband, I do breathing for him, either labored or shortness of breath. I put that in there so that he can take those little pellets and it helps him.
so
Helps his
how does
breathing.
it give pellets? What does it make?
Have you ever done homeopathics? Are you familiar with homeopathics?
Yes, but how can you get pellets from a machine?
Oh, oh, the machine doesn't make the pellets. I have to get the
I
pellets.
was going to
Yeah,
say,
the machine doesn't make the pellets. I have to get the pellets and then fill a little vial with them.
so yeah,
So I
you can
fill the
get
vial.
vegan ones from uh sort of Amazon, and then
Yeah.
what it tells you what to
I
fill it
get them
with.
from Solex has them, so I can buy a big, huge bottle of them from Solex. So, and then I just put them into it.
So what do you put in it?
All I'm gonna do, let's look at well, let's look at shortness of breath. So this is breathing shortness. So what it needs to do, what I have to do to begin with, okay, they did change this around a little bit. So typically I would go up here and I would do this and I put my little uh, vial on this, just place it on top of that, and that erases anything that's in there. Okay. So it clears whatever is in the vial. Doesn't matter where it might be. So then I go back to my frequency, and there's affirmations, there's all kinds of things in here. And then I go to imprint. And again, so then I place the little vial on top of my phone again, and I start it, and that's the frequency of it. Oh, it's catching the
Yeah,
light.
no, I can see it, but I don't
Yeah,
understand how that can put something in a pellet.
it's energetic. It's
Oh,
always, yeah.
right. So you're not putting like,
Homeopathy is energetic medicine, is basically what homeopathy is. So this matches the frequency of whatever that homeopathic is. So this is just body situations, but I can go to where's my homeopathies?
because I've had
Go to the
homeopathic medicines, but I mean,
homeopathics.
I've literally had a
Mhm.
tablet, like
Yeah.
arnica, or I've literally had the cream, or I've literally had it. But what
So
you're saying here is that you would
yes,
literally,
I can go to arnica. I'm in my homeopathy now. Um, Arnica, Montana. Okay. So I can go there
Mm.
and then I can erase and then I can put the frequency in.
So what you're saying is you'd like put like a little pellet here,
Let me show you. I'll get a bottle of pellets. I'll show you.
like that, on top of that, and then the energy of that goes into
Goes
that.
into the pellets.
And even though it's like weightless, there's nothing to it. It's just the
It's
energy.
energy.
Right.
Everything
Okay.
it's
I've
based
got you.
on it's based on everything is energy. Tesla told us that.
That everything's
Tesla
energy.
Are you familiar with Tesla, Nikolai Tesla?
Not really.
Okay, well then there's what we have to do is maybe we could do it a different time is just show a little video on him and what he did. He is somewhat the father of what do they call it? Uh, energy. It's like energy from the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Discovered that the sun gives us everything we need. We can power our homes. That's why we have the,
Yeah. Yeah. Solar paneling. Mm-hmm.
and so we can power our homes. Anything that we would require power, we can use this energy. You just have to harness the energy. Well, he was able to harness the energy of the sun, and he could create electricity in 100-mile radius. Okay, he created an instrument that would give energy in 100-mile radius. Now, none of those people were working with electricity, so to speak. This is just from the energy from the sun. And this uh, unit that he made that radiated out to all the people that were being 100-mile radius.
Wow.
And that was really powerful. That was in the early, I think it was the early 1900s, maybe the early 1900s. So that was really powerful. And Alexander Graham Bell was very, very interested in this, right? But then he discovered that if this actually came about, there would be no electricity. He would be out of business, right?
Oh, they fell out.
Yep. And so then he created an even larger tower. Let's just call it a tower in New York. It was a very large tower. And again, that would facilitate even further than 100 miles, maybe the whole city of
So he
Detroit
had to make
or
it bigger and
whatever,
better and
had
more.
to make it bigger. Well, it was around World War II, and when he did that, and the U.S. government came in and said, "No, you can't do that. That's telling the Japanese where we are." So they tore it down. They wouldn't let him do it. But he was able to create one for a car, and the car would go 90 miles an hour. We have the Tesla cars now,
Yeah,
but
he took the
they're
name,
not
didn't
his,
he?
they're not
He-
his
no,
image.
no, no, I know. He took the
No,
name, didn't he?
but that was his name. That's where it comes from. He's
Yeah.
like the father of,
I wonder what he
of
thinks.
energy.
I wonder what he thinks to it.
And then we've got Rife. Have you heard of Rife and his cure for cancer? Well, Rife created this machine again that was frequency vibration in 1920 that was curing cancer. So a couple universities in California said to him, "We want you to do this on 1,000 people, and we want to see the results of it." Well, 87% of that 1,000 people, this cancer was cured their cancer. And he did a little bit more tabulation, and the other 13% were then cured. as well. He won many, many prizes for that. But again, his technology was confiscated because of Big Pharma.
Oh,
Pharma was coming into 1920. That's when we were starting with Big Pharma. And if energy could cure these people, why would they need pills and
oh my gosh,
pharmaceuticals?
it's shocking.
It is shocking. Yeah, and he was mysteriously, his lab was mysteriously demolished, and his
And what
equipment.
was he called?
Rife. I'm trying to think of what his first name.
Right, how do you spell it?
I th I think it's RIFFE. Let me just do this. Rife Technology. Yeah, Rife Technology, Frequency Delivery System. Trying to see
Somebody somewhere will have
what his
that.
first name.
Because if you,
RIFE is how it's spelled.
all right,
RIFE.
because if you know it, there'll be other
Oh,
people.
it's all over. I've got a whole page of it here. I just
Yeah.
looked it up. And let me see. History of Rife. I'm trying to get his full name. So based on the ideas and works. I thought his name was Rife, but it looks like his name was Albert Abrams. And he believed that diseases gave off electromagnetic frequencies. And he was able to determine what those frequencies were.
So isn't that interesting then? If the Alzheimer's does, or Lewy body, or whatever, there'll be 100 different types. There's over 100 different types of dementia. Each will
Right.
give off a different
frequency.
vibration, a different frequency.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's about tapping into that. So I wonder if they've been able to do that with the mice first of all.
I don't know, but that's what it is, light and sound. I think it'd be interesting to I haven't Googled it yet, so it'd be interesting to Google it and see.
Because our we're hardwired, because if you're in a very black room, very dark, and you see the slightest chink of light, your eyes go there.
Yeah.
So we're always light led.
Yeah.
So so of course we are. And then if as you say, if the lights are going that way, even if your eyes are closed, you can still see lights going left and right.
Right. Right.
And then mixed with the sound.
For her lights, her glasses are unique. Other glasses have just a singular red light, like in the center, that blinks, but it's the same principle. And they don't want you to look at that light, but it's the same principle. You put the glasses on, and you've got
because I know there was
and then the sound of whatever frequency the brainwave frequency is that you're looking to have
as well. Then because I know there were some lights before, for I remember sort of like learning that from either a colleague or from Dr. Dan. But again, it was like there wasn't enough evidence, there wasn't enough whatever.
Right.
But and as I say, there just wasn't enough, and there wasn't enough difference. But what you're saying is that mixed with the sound as well.
Right. It's the sound and the light.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it?
It's fascinating.
I don't know what happens if they're deaf, but I would still say that if there's a vibration
There's a frequency. Yes.
See, then you can, because no matter what, if people
Right.
are literally deaf, they can still feel the rumbling of a tractor going by.
Well, this music
Vibration.
has just, let me see if I can do the just, oh, well, I'm out of it now. Let's see if I can go back. Voice. So this part is the frequency part. This is the music part of it. So I can turn so you can hear it. And if I turn this, can you hear that? So that I would imagine gives off, it would give off that
Yeah.
frequency.
Well, especially if it's against the head or wherever.
But this it doesn't even have to be against the head. I can run this for you. If you're in my system, I can run this for you and you'll get it. You don't even have to be listening to anything.
Wow.
But the energy itself, it's called scalar energy. It's transferable. Energy is energy, it's everywhere. And once the technology has keyed into your particular vibration, which is different than anybody else's, then it can transfer that energy will connect with your energy.
Well, of course, because that's why Reiki works. You can do
Exactly.
energy work from far
Yeah.
away because
Yeah.
energy within healing. Yeah.
Right.
And it's like
Exactly.
yeah, I've done Reiki on people from far away.
Yeah.
So it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you say, if you're concentrating on them,
Mhm.
on that person and focusing on it. So
Right.
well, this is all fascinating, isn't it? Because
Mm.
it's like, who knows? Who
Right.
knows where this will go? And it's really important for us to always get curious, because it's like, what else is there? What else can we do?
Yeah.
And it's good to know that other people are looking into it as well.
Right. Right.
Because if one person if a person is being diagnosed with dementia every 3 seconds, it's the next pandemic.
It's the next pandemic.
And it's so yeah, so it's like, well, what can we do about it? And if people are, by the nature of there being more medicine, more whatever, there is way more octagons and people in their living up into their hundreds. Well,
Right.
we don't want it. It'd be much nicer for them to be living well.
Exactly. If you're going to live that way, you may as
Yeah, you
well
don't want to be.
youth a little bit along the way instead of age.
Yeah, you want
Right?
to be. You want to be living well with it. In
I
all
knew a gal
aspects.
that said, "Oh no, I am youthing." She would say, "I'm
I'm
youth.
I'm youthing.
I'm not aging. I'm youthing." She would say.
Yeah. Well, it's true. We want to stay, young and fit and well and mentally healthy for
Exactly.
as long as possible. I mean,
Exactly.
we all know that there are so many things, and that's what our job is to helping people with their any issues, so that they don't do other outlets like drugs and alcohol and bad food, and that because that does make them unhealthy, actually.
Yes.
And
Yes.
same with which and that is one thing they can actually help themselves with. So that's what we do, help people with their issues so that they can maintain their health
Yeah.
and be in control of it. But I'm just
Mhm.
gonna you will have got that information from me about
Yeah.
the
Let me get
alcohol.
that. I think I just printed it. I did. The alcohol part. And blood pressure. There was a third one I saw, but I didn't get that printed.
Um, it was high blood pressure and alcohol.
Okay, just the two of those.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I might have done this space chaser.
Mhm.
to
Yes,
help
I have it here.
to give, yeah, good. So it's just like, how can we help people, basically? But isn't it interesting, when we look at the, and you have pints here, you won't have milliliters because of course this is all English stuff,
Mm.
but white wine, it's like, my goodness, the amount of calories, when you think of the equivalent.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I did a stop, a weight loss program with a gal who was a gal who was a judge, and she had a very stressful job. She came home at night and she drank a whole bottle of wine.
Yeah.
So, but we were able to get her,
Yeah.
with aversion types of things, get her away from the wine.
Yeah. A lot.
And
I
she finally said, "Oh my gosh, I can't even think about it or look at it or anything. I just get sick." So
yeah. Yeah. I've seen
I
so
don't do a lot
many
of that, but
people,
yeah,
so
it
many
worked.
people for white wine aversion that I don't drink white wine myself.
Yeah.
It's worked on me.
Mhm.
I can only literally drink it if it's got ice in it, or if it's like, and I had a
Maybe
friend
a
say, can you
spritzer
drink?
down a little 7-Up or something in
Yeah,
there.
it works on me. Yeah, and I just don't like it because it's got all the foul things in that I said to them, and I was like doing all the noises and whoa, and I don't like it. So I had somebody say to me, can I do a red wine version? I said no. Because
Ah,
I said no, because I really like red wine and it'll work on me. I don't actually enjoy it, but it might last me all night,
yeah, yeah,
because I
yeah,
sip it as I do. It's like sometimes there's a bit left,
yeah,
it's just that I like to know it's there, because red
yeah,
wine doesn't go hot or cold, it's at a good temperature, isn't it? You don't,
yeah,
it's like whereas white wine, I think you always have to drink it cold because of
yeah.
it has to be crisp. But it is quite funny. So yeah, but it is amazing just how much that can raise people's blood pressure again.
I never realized that did that
I
until
know. So
saw
it's the
that. I
hidden,
didn't realize that it would raise blood pressure.
and of course we know that high blood pressure can lead to strokes, and strokes can lead to ischemic attacks, of course, in the brain, and of course then, which is a stroke, and then the more strokes they have, then they're more likely to get vascular dementia.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
all of this is, we have to get curious about,
yeah,
and not, horrible, or just get curious. When we're meeting somebody, we ask those questions and we have it in the back of our head all the time.
yeah.
Okay, and then just slowly we can start to bring in the, as I said, this other one where it says a spacer chaser, so that they start to, what can we do, you know more water in between each drink, a smaller glass, a this, a that, I don't know, have eat, because some people will only drink before they eat earlier. So then they're not
Yeah.
drinking afterwards.
Mm.
There's the whole thing of, what else can they drink? Like, I don't know, tonic water, or what else do they like? Just finding something that they can drink instead of,
Mhm.
so have a nice glass. You see, sometimes it's just the fact that people like to have a nice glass.
I can only drink about that much wine. I get drunk really fast.
Yeah. Well, and
I'm
it's
very
almost,
drunk on
yeah, you
that
don't
much
like it.
wine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't need much. So I don't often drink, actually. Just a
But
few times a
what I
year.
mean is, they like to have
Yeah.
the whole kinesthetic thing of
Yeah?
holding a nice glass, because that in itself means
Oh,
they've got a
yes.
desirability
Absolutely.
at the
Yeah,
end of the
they have
day.
an atmosphere. It's
Yes.
like a meditation room or something, but it's an atmosphere for having the
Yes, it's a reward.
cocktail or
Yes,
whatever.
it's a reward, but it doesn't need to have alcohol in it.
Right.
It can have, you know, sort of like, and it can still have lemon and lime and orange in it, and it can still have whatever, but it can
Yeah.
have something else. So what
Yeah.
else can you have that will make, and then we get curious, what do they like? What could they have? Might, or they just a little bit of whatever, but the
Mm.
rest something else. And just so they still feel mentally that they've had something, but it hasn't, you know, but it's not actually going to do them any harm.
Yeah.
Because when people are, you know, again, we've got the whole thing of people fall down drunk. Now
Yeah.
they could hurt themselves.
Right.
They can't get back up. And then when people are hurting themselves, if they fracture a hip or they do something like that, because then they can't move about,
Yeah.
which is
So
bad.
tell me, Claudia, for someone who does have alcohol-induced dementia, Alzheimer's or whatever, um, does the condition exacerbate it? Do they want more alcohol then?
I
Or do they it doesn't matter anymore?
what I've found is that the two clients that I had who had alcoholic dementia, they both declined very rapidly, and they did stop drinking.
Mhm.
In fact, they'd stopped drinking, and then the dementia came on, and but it was
It
alcohol
already stopped.
induced.
Mhm.
And it's yeah, it's just very sad. And that they're already got a really, and they go really quickly. It
Mm.
like literally, I'm not exactly sure what it does, because I don't think anybody does.
Mhm.
They just
Do they have other physical things? I mean, because we always think of liver, cirrhosis of the liver,
I
different
know. Well, this
that
one lady,
medical
she didn't.
situation.
The only thing she was just literally couldn't remember anything, was lost in any kind
Mm.
of conversation, would just sit there as
Right.
though she was completely, nobody was at home.
Yeah.
She could dress herself, she could watch one thing on TV, and that was what she did, watched it over and over. She could go out with her husband on their golf buggy and go and
Mhm.
see nice things, and
Mhm.
she did walk, and she was, you know, quite slim and able-bodied, but
Yeah.
she wasn't there. She
Yeah.
just wasn't there. She'd gone. And but she did cry a lot, because she did know that she just didn't know what she was doing.
Right.
Um,
There was awareness. Um, how many do you feel that you've worked with that are aware of their condition?
well, one, she did know, but then sometimes she didn't.
Mm.
My other one was really bad, and I saw her through it, and she was dead within 3 months. When I did that Mocha scale, she was scored 0,
Mhm.
and I ended up going to see him instead, really. But while I was there and she was there, because she had to be there, I would manicure, file her nails, and
Yeah.
massage her hands and her arms. I couldn't paint them, because she'd be getting up every so often,
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
to do something, and she had such bad stomach, she'd go to the bathroom. And in the end, it was yeah, she went pretty quickly. She was
Wow.
on so many antipsychotic drugs, because she was getting angry, and
Mm.
it was the only way.
I know.
Yeah, and they didn't have Medicaid, they didn't have the stuff in place, because they'd moved from New York and nothing, because one state to
Oh,
another. So
oh,
he was paying for all the, and it was just, I mean, to be honest, it was probably just, her life had gone. She
yeah.
didn't know who people were. She's getting everybody muddled up, and it was very sad.
Yeah.
58.
Oh my gosh. Young.
This other one was 58 as well.
They're both young. That's a very young.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Anybody at any age.
Right.
can get dementia.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, people really need to understand that it's not just, you know, sort of like 70 and over.
Right.
It's often early onset. Prefrontal is also, in my understanding, will get you pretty quick.
Yeah.
Early onset will get you pretty
Right.
quick. You'll probably be dead within 5 years.
Well,
It's just really
and
rapid.
the younger you are, the deadlier, the
Same with
quicker the
cancer.
demise is.
My understanding is that the same with cancer.
And
Now,
heart disease is the same too, because um, we create new vessels and new arteries as we get older that will take over like they showed us in images of my husband's where he has this blockage. He said, see this other artery? He said, that's
oh,
not supposed to be there. Your heart grew that artery to help out.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, yeah. So when young people have heart attacks, they're often extremely fatal, the more fatal they are than older people.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it was interesting because it had the main artery and it came down, but then there's this other whole artery over here. And he said, that's not supposed to be there. He said, your heart grew that. He says, it's not as strong as, the main one, but it's
Well, that must be
helping
because
out.
he's loved so much by you and you helped him grow an artery. And that's so sweet.
He's got a really big heart too. That believe
Oh,
me,
that's so sweet.
everybody is aware of that. So that might have something to do with it too. Who
Well,
knows?
it might. Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's just
So,
so sweet. That's so sweet. But there's some information there anyway about
great.
how we can help people with the alcohol. It's about being aware. Just it's always about us getting curious, you know? It's that wonderful
Mhm.
curiosity in a really loving way.
Yeah.
And for some people, you know, there's no alcohol at all. So it's just like, okay, that one's out. So you check, we've looked at the sugar. I mean, sorry, the salt. We've looked at the, weight and what they're eating. And we've looked at alcohol. And then next week, it's Memorial Day. Are you here? Are you around?
I am gonna be around. I'll tell you what, my son is coming into town that day.
Well, I'll do something
Yeah.
on my own then and put it up.
Okay. Okay. All
All
right. That
right.
that probably would be good because my son
Yeah.
is
No, you want to see some. That's fine. That's fine. All
with,
right. No worries.
everything going on.
No worries. I love that. It was so interesting, so fascinating about all the light. And it's like, let's see,
I'm gonna see if I can send you something. Actually,
put it on the
um,
group.
do
Put
you
it,
ever go to YouTube
yeah,
or
I've got a YouTube channel. Yeah.
okay. So if you go to YouTube channel and what's her first name? Oh, geez. You can look up Solex Nation, and there's all kinds of things on the Solex app, but I know there was one fella that spoke and he talked about it, but what's Rose's name? Her last name is Rose. Um, oh, shoot. I have to remember it.
Well, that's right. Just put
I
it
can
in the
text
group.
it to you.
No, just put,
I'll text it to you.
yeah, and
And
share
you
it in the
just look
group.
up her name, look up Solex Nation or Solex and her name. And she has some things, and I was just looking at it this week. That's where I heard this thing about the MIT. And they talk, number one, all the first part of it is all about energetics. Since when it was discovered, when we began to become aware of, and now we know everything in the world is energetic.
and it's
Some,
brilliant.
some of it we see, the scalar energy, we can't see because it's a high vibration of energy. But we, because we're in a physical body or furniture or anything like that, is denser. It's a denser vibration.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
fascinating, isn't it? Because we
it's
are just
really
all
is.
energy.
It really is. And
Oh,
it's a
there you
lot
go.
of fun. I
Yeah.
know it sounds
Lots of good
really,
energy.
we think of the bioenergetics, we think of the aura and stuff like that. And oh my gosh, that's so out there. That's so aura. But now they call it bioenergetics. So,
No, I know that's why I was really asking you,
Mhm.
because just in case anybody, is watching this later on, didn't really understand. So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
I'll love you and leave you. Happy Memorial Day, and
Thank you. You
you.
too.
All
You too.
right, take
Have a
care.
great holiday. We'll
Bye.
see you.
Bye.
Bye.